Hey everybody, Johnny Disc Golf here, back with another off-season interview. This time I am joined by newly minted Team Innova player, Miss Hailey King. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing solid. I've been working a little bit on some After Effects, some computer work, a couple of meetings, but I'm excited to get to talk to you. It's the off-season. Like, how's it been so far?
It's been really good. Most people know by now, but I moved to Charlotte from Wisconsin, so it's I think 58 degrees out right now, which is something that is not heard of. So it's been great. Yeah.
So, wow, moved to Charlotte. I'd ask what prompted the move, but my guess is winter weather.
Yup, winter weather. And the first time I ever came to Charlotte, like I met, I was hanging out with Brian Earhart, Lindsay, and our friend Brant Weber, and we just, viewed the city. We drove around the city and everything.
Mhm.
And I knew that this was a place that I wanted to move, maybe forever. So I had to jump on it once I had the opportunity.
Wow. That's big stuff, really. I mean, it's a move all the way down from the top of the country. My question, do you have roommates? Are you renting a house? Like, do you care to talk about that? What's the living situation?
Yeah, so I do have roommates, and it is my twin sister, older sister, and my twin sister's boyfriend. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
it's really cool because my older sister has been in college for a long time. So when we moved here, she came like from college. So we haven't been with her in a long time. And
Mhm.
now we just like get to reunite for a new chapter in all of our lives. So it's like good to be home with people that I trust. And we are renting a house. So next year I hope to be building a house. But yeah.
Wow. I mean, listen, we're going to get to the new sponsorship and all that stuff, but this is like a big life step for you. Like, how has it been? I know that you do have a close tie with your family, so this has got to be even extra special.
Yeah. So here's some more info. My mom and my stepdad are moving to Mexico. They were supposed to move before COVID hit, but then COVID hit, so they had to push their time back.
Hmm.
So my parents are trying to leave the States, and I was like, well, what's better than like having our family back together? So if we want to travel to go see my parents, we're all there together. It's a very easy trip. And I mean, we're our best support system. So it's great to have them 24/7.
Oh man, this is actually so good to hear. I didn't exactly know all these details, but it's like it's got to be like refreshing. Shift in the living situation, shift in off-season plans, even a bigger shift on the course going into next season. Though you have switched sponsors from Discraft over to Innova. Why the switch? I think it caught a lot of people off guard.
Um, I really just wanted a fresh start and I wanted to start a new chapter.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're going to do because we saw a lot of people, leaving from Innova and opening up likely, a few spots up on the top teams, which you have slid into. You are on that star team. Was the people leaving Innova a factor in you coming over? Did it free up some budget for Innova to bring you over? Like, how did that play into it?
I mean, Innova's been chasing me for years, so when I wanted a new chance, they were there. And I don't know, I've always wanted to be on Innova, so I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but
Sure.
it worked out between us, and I'm happy to be here.
Perfect. Well, walk me through the timeline. Is this something that is this all off season? Kind of like once the season settled down, you started to think, or had this been maybe brewing from before?
This has kind of been brewing for like the last year. I've been going through a lot of struggles this last year, and this
Mhm.
was something that I needed to do for myself. Not, as a player, some people might not have seen it as a good decision, but for me, this was more personal and stuff that I had to do for myself and not just disc golf stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's like a factor that not a lot of the people like on the outside that aren't day to day with the disc golf tour fail to realize a lot of times is that it's just humans throwing plastic and sometimes something may not make sense from the outside but from the inside like I actually totally respect and appreciate your just like I need to have a life change and like have you felt over the past couple months that there's a degree of like refreshed energy with you in disc golf?
Yeah, I would definitely say I am feeling better. Like I feel like I just started disc golf again.
Hmm.
Like I have the same drive. I found the same drive that I had when I first started. So for me, it's a good thing. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, well, talk to me about your trip to LA. Everybody likely saw your announcement video featuring tons of like iconic LA landscapes and the Griffith Observatory and all sorts of good stuff like that. Talk to me about the trip going into Innova headquarters and filming that.
Yeah, so I have only been to California a couple of times, and I've always wanted to go to Santa Barbara and LA.
Hmm.
But being from Wisconsin, it's just like we want to go to a big city, and that was the one I wanted to go to. So to have the Innova headquarters there be so close to those cities, it was like I had to go there. And Jeff Panis was like, "All right, let's go. We're doing whatever you want to do this trip." So we went to see the Hollywood sign and we hiked a little bit. So that was really cool. We went to the Innova store. I met a lot of the Innova employees and I got to feel a lot of the plastic. That warehouse is absolutely huge. Like
Insane.
I've seen a couple warehouses before and it's insane. It's nothing like I've seen before. And the people are just honestly really welcoming. And I
Hmm.
haven't felt like this much support from so many people at once, just all up there in my face. It was overwhelming. And it felt like, I don't know, I felt like I met some really cool people that I'm going to be talking to for a very, very long time.
Yes. Yeah. Fingers crossed that it all works out well. How long is the deal for? Are you comfortable sharing like numbers? I know that's kind of been like the theme of the off season is, half the new contracts are kind of under lock and key, and the other half they're really like about branding how much it's worth. Where do you fall in that category?
I don't really care to share my salary, but I am getting paid. So
Hmm.
that's something that people want to know. I am being taken care of and it's relieving a lot of stress on the road. I am doing only a year with them, but that year is just for me. I want to see how I play and see what I
Hmm.
can do for and above before I sign a big contract.
Perfect. Love it. Betting on yourself is probably a good plan, Hailey. You're a great golfer, so I love the idea. Let's talk about new discs. You mentioned, earlier that you've kind of found that passion again, that like love for the throwing of the disc that you had when you were first starting and like really developing that passion. Is that because you're throwing like completely new molds? I know that for me, like if I get a handful of new discs, that's like half the inspiration to go out and play right there.
Yeah, that is definitely a big part of my excitement to
Mhm.
like throw all these new discs. And it's with Innova, they have so many molds that like at Discraft, I kind of felt limited with my distance drivers. When Paul came out with the Zeus, it was like, all right, I'm confident with the distance driver now.
Mhm.
Like that's when I started being able to actually throw distance drives. Now going back, to what I've thrown before, I've thrown the destroyers, I've thrown the wraiths, I've thrown the Shrikes. It's like now they're in, newer plastic, like that Halo plastic. I'm really liking the Halo plastic,
Yeah.
and it's just I love learning and being able to learn more about my shots and the fact that I am at a higher skill set than I was when I like first started with Discraft. I actually get to learn what these discs do and learn what it can do on so many different lines and like shots, everything like that.
Totally. Are you kind of like dipping back into the older Innova plastic, or are you throwing mostly new stuff? I have to imagine like there's people sliding in like, oh, I have this SDS, you got to throw it.
Yeah, I have a lot of people coming in there, but I personally like to stay with the stock stuff just because I know that there are a lot of limited good disc that I really want, but I'm not going to pay $200 per disc. Like I can't do that when there's a new mold that does just like it does the job I need it to
Hmm.
do.
Yeah, especially like just thinking about on the road. I mean, oh, you have this beautiful 11-time Firebird, and then you chuck into a lake somewhere, and there's no backups. Like that's half the battle.
Yeah.
You said you love the Halo plastic. Your signature disc currently, the Halo Mako 3. I love it. I have it in my bag. It's one of my favorite flyers, frankly. That's straight to a little bit of a left finish, but how did that become your signature disc? Was that something that you went in thinking, I want the Halo Mako 3? Did they pitch that to you? How'd that work?
Well, so the Halo Mako 3 actually isn't going to be my True Series disc.
Oh, okay.
That was a nice little welcoming bonus that Innova did for me.
Ah,
So we could get some discs out for people to get.
okay.
Um, yeah, but I love the Halo Mako 3. Those are going to be in my bag. That's probably going to be my go-to backhand mid-range.
Hmm. Do you? Is there any information as far as signature discs? I know the Star Team, comes with a few branding things like, being in media and signature discs and that sort of stuff. So, is there any information there, or is not yet?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be doing the Halo Hawkeye for my,
Ooh,
yeah.
pitch
And
me on that. I don't even know if I've heard that before.
well, so the Hawkeye, they renamed it from the Fairway disc, so the old FD.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that disc, I mean, I used to throw the FD a lot when I was open bag, and I love that disc a lot. I love the FD3, I love the FD2, love that line. So having that in a more stable plastic now, and like with the domier tops, it's just perfect hyzer flip to turnover, or even I don't know. I can manipulate that disc so well. I can even forehand it. It's a really good disc, and I'm excited for people to get their hands on it.
Yeah, love it. I am a huge FD guy. I'm all about it. So that's going to be perfect. I can't wait to get at the Halo plastic, right?
Yep.
Ah, love it. How about, are there any other molds that maybe you like felt like either you really had dialed and now you're looking for a replacement here, or vice versa, like something that you didn't really have a great option for that now you're loving something for?
I
For,
mean,
First thought that comes in my mind is that zone. You threw a zone with Brian Earhart's stamp on it, like way too many shots. You threw it in at GMC for the Eagle down at Fox Run. Is there something in the Innova lineup that you're going to be replacing that with?
yeah, so I actually really like my new setup with Innova because I can choose from the Pig and the ABR X3. They're both overstable discs. The Pig is more overstable. So
Mm-hmm.
I can choose different shots. And for me as a player last year, like since I'm learning so much, and my problem is that I couldn't decide when to throw what zone because I had a more overstable zone and a more straighter zone. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, having a whole mold that flies like an overstable zone or an understable zone, that's what I need, and it's going to help me more as a player. So yeah, the Pig and the AVRX3 are going to replace my zone. I feel like the switch with Innova has just been so much easier because of how many molds there are. There's so many options to, find a replacement, but I'm not really trying to find replacements necessarily. I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
find what fits me as a player that like I'm just growing and growing. So everything for me is like new every day. So I'm just trying to find what works best that day and just see what I can do from there on.
Yeah, it's actually a great mindset too. Like as you get better and better, the discs fly differently and differently. So you may have like had your mind made up about something, and you come back 2 3 years later, you're throwing with 30% more force, and it just flies totally different. Speaking of a little bit more force, are you doing any sort of like physical regiment, like workout training, cardio, anything like that to like refine your tool, your body?
Yeah, so before the move, I was going to my trainer every single day for I think it was like 2 months straight after
Mm-hmm.
tour ended, and I was doing workouts every day with him. But now since I moved, I've just kind of been focused on just disc golf and just make sure I'm getting a lot of food in, and that's basically it. Just make sure it's healthy food, and I'm good because I have a fast metabolism, so I can basically eat whatever I want, and I'm gonna be okay. But yeah, once things start to settle down, I'll be going like to the gym, and I'll probably get a team to help me with that and everything.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about Charlotte Disc Golf. You mentioned that that's been your focus since getting down here. What are some of your favorite courses? Where have you been practicing?
So I've been playing. A lot of people have heard of the course Blair Mill, and they think it's like the worst course. The holes are like 190 feet, like 230 max, and it's just a
Mm-hmm.
nice pitching putt.
Yeah.
But I'm really liking that course because it's in the woods, so you are throwing your putters, and you have to learn how to throw your putters and like how they fly at every single angle. So that's one of my favorite short courses around here. My next favorite would probably be Angry Beaver and then Evergreen. Can't
Mm.
remember what it's called. Holly Finley posts about it. She's out there in the field all day. So that is a really good course. There's so many courses around here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a little insane. It's almost overwhelming. You open the UDisc app and it's just like you can't even see the word Charlotte. It's just baskets everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's talk about last season a little bit. You had a couple of huge wins, a couple of disappointing finishes on two for you, I'm sure, throughout the season. What was your perspective on your last season with Discraft? I guess now that I'm thinking about it, but last year as a whole.
Last year as a whole, I was going through a lot personally. So for me to be out there, it was honestly really hard for me to be out there. I have to give a shout out to Maria, Oliva, Brian Earhart, and Lindsay for just being there every day with me, keeping me going. I personally felt that I don't know if I can top what I did last year on an emotional, like, I don't know what to call it, but like that for me was probably the biggest thing I've ever done in my life, was just still be out there every day competing and still winning when I was going through what I was going through. So for me, that was a huge, huge accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Is there, this is just like something I'm thinking of, but like, I don't claim to know exactly what everyone is going through and all that stuff, but is there anything that you've done to relieve or help or aid with whatever was going on last year? Have you made any adjustments?
Yeah, I've moving to Charlotte was one of them. Basically, just I haven't been able to do so much as going on to a therapy level yet, just because other reasons. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the best at what I can do to make the changes that are going on in my everyday life until I can afford therapy and go to therapy and do all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm trying to make changes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever happens, happens. But at least, Maria Oliva will be on tour full time next year. I have to imagine that's super exciting. You looking forward to spending a lot of time with her next year?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. I mean, this year is gonna be her first full year, and it's just gonna be really exciting to see how far she goes. Just because
Mm-hmm.
last year she just dropped out of college and she committed fully to disc golf, and she just has so much potential, and it's gonna be a lot of fun because we're best friends, we're the same age, and like we're fun competitors. We we want to beat each other, but we
Mm-hmm.
also, if one of us have to win or someone has to win and it's not me, it's gonna be Maria.
Yeah, she's like maybe my, not that we're going on a Maria interview here, but she's my choice as maybe that breakout candidate for next year that we haven't seen full years tour, but could very well make lead cards and take a big W. So super excited to see that. Let's bring it back a little bit to last year. All the awards that came out: DGPT Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, all that good stuff. Did you feel like you had a good claim to any of those? I mean, you took home, I think, two NTs. I think you might have been the national tour champion, but that didn't really play into the DGPT awards. How did you feel like, what's your perspective on that?
Um, well, I had to skip a couple pro tour events last year, so I can see why on the points. I still placed fifth in the points, but I think I skipped probably three pro
Mm-hmm.
tour events. So for me to still be at fifth, like I was like, that's pretty good. So I feel like from everything, all the research there is out there, I was the youngest person to win a national tour, both on MPO and FPO. So for all the attention to like be on the pro tour points, like I get that, but like this is the last year of the national tour, of being the national tour, and like I broke that record. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
that was really cool. And yeah, I thought it's just weird like that points, just because I feel like all of the PDGA was more focused on the pro tour as well. Like they didn't really care about like the national tour, it seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, we were kind of in that like transition period last year, and likely again this year. There's going to be like a few years where it all starts to shift over pro tour, but it kind of, I actually totally feel what you're saying. Like even at the NTs, they're like, oh, we got to get through this to get back to another pro tour event. So, um, was there a moment specifically last year that you were most proud of? You went out there, and despite the odds, you were able to perform at an extremely high level, and that's one thing. But I mean, like, was there one round or one moment after a tournament that stands out to you as like your proudest moment of last year, or a moment that you'll take with you?
I would say disc golf wise and like basically achieving my dreams, it would have to be GMC.
Mm.
Last year I went into uh, almost a playoff with Paige Pierce. I lost in the last two holes. I was two strokes ahead, I think, and hole 16 I blew it. And then for me to come back this year and be head to head with Sarah Holcomb and pull it on the top on the last hole, just like Paige beat me the year previously, it that is something that it's always going to stick with me, and I'm going to be remembering till the day I die.
Yeah, that last 3 hole stretch for me might be like, I mean, that's at least top 3 moment of the year for me. Just like watching you gather your composure back and then grit down and really finish strong was just so impressive. And like you said, you'll remember it. Like for me, that's a performance that stands out for me too, and it was really special to see. Let's switch to this, talk about this year a little bit, and not the discs so much as yourself, the golfer. Do you have any goals? Are you like a write down your goals person? Do you have any like process goals or outcome goals? Where are you with that?
I'm not a goal orientated person. I just literally want to be the best me every single day I can. I want to continue to learn. The more I learn, basically the better human I'll be at some point. So it's just me growing as a person is going to translate into disc golf. So as long as I keep pushing, everything is going to be good. And I know that if I'm here, I'm 20 years old and I'm able to tour the country for a job, like I'm extremely grateful for that. But like clearly that tells me I don't necessarily need to put a goal to something, because if I think of
Mhm.
it, I'm going to accomplish it.
Yeah, no, very true. It that almost rings with like a James Conrad vibe, where it's just like, I just want to go throw a good shot every time I have the chance to, and after that, the chips just kind of fall where they lie.
Yep.
One of the big storylines for me in the FPO division is obviously the Europeans coming back over to play in the States this year. I just saw the look on your face. You're a competitor. You love the competition. How do you feel about like what, five in maybe the top 10, top 12 ish? Like, how do you feel going into this year knowing that there's a huge talent boom?
Knowing that the Europeans are coming over, it's going to be a lot harder to win. Evelina, Kristen, Henna, those are the three that I can just name off my head.
Hmm.
I've competed with all of them before, and it's a whole different game. They train completely different. Like they think, breathe, live disc golf differently. So to see people come over to travel across a country or the ocean really to play the same game that I love is just really cool. It's like I can't even speak their language. They can speak mine, thankfully. I'm lucky for that. But to be from such opposite sides of the world competing at the same place doing what we love is just absolutely amazing that I get to see there and witness disc golf, the best disc golf in the world.
Yeah, and likely the best disc golf that's ever been played. That's like one of the things that I always find so inspiring about what I do, you do, we all kind of do in the disc golf world is, we're kind of just inventing it as we go, creating the sport, and B, every year the level of game gets raised like we've never played this good as a scene in the history of the world, and it's so inspiring to see people do all these new things. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to next season? Be it a tournament, be it a leg, being able to go to something off the course, even. Is there anything that's like on your mind?
Not really. I love disc golf and I'm lucky to be out here. So every event that I'm playing, I'm going to be extremely excited and grateful to be there.
Yeah. Well, speaking of being grateful, Hailey, I'm truly grateful for your time. Been trying to do this for a couple days now, but we finally locked it in, and I do appreciate your time. That's about all I have for the interview. I just wanted to give you a chance to shout out anyone you wanted, say thanks. Anybody out there in YouTube land. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Innova for believing in me. That's the team where champions are made. So I'm excited for the future. Um, Everybody on the Innova team has just been extremely kind and great and just great to me. So I'm excited to be working with them. Want to give a shout out to Jennifer Allen, Maria Leva, Brian Earhart, Lindsay Rodans, and last Brant Weber. Those are my people. They've been next to me every step of the way, and I just couldn't be more thankful to have met these people and have them in my life. So thank you all my supporters, and thank you for interviewing
Mhm.
me. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait for next year.
Yeah, honestly, my pleasure. This has been this has been a blast to get to talk to you. I can't wait to see what you look like throwing Innova. I can't wait to see what everybody who's switched plastics looks like throwing their new respective sponsors. 2022 is shaping up to be awesome. That's all I have for this interview, Hailey. I'll see you out at Media Day at the All-Star event out there in Tucson. So looking forward to that. For all of you at home, that's about all I have for this interview. If you'd like coverage of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.